Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1814. This is how many days I've come here to you, and I've come here every morning or day or night um, to bring you morsels of a thought of what I hope is wisdom, because when we know the right thing to do, we've got wisdom. When we do it, we've got virtue. So I'm reading to you what other people give us as wisdom, which is in their own life experiences. When we're standing on their shoulders, we get to benefit from their life experiences through their synopses of their lives without our having to go through the experience of learning it like they did, but knowing that it's the right thing to do. So, with the right things to do in our minds, we continue with Millennial Samurai by George J. Chanos. He is the former Nevada Attorney General, and he is probably not the only one, but he has given us many morsels of a thought in his book, The Millennial Samurai, Book One, A Mindset for the 20th Century. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank George. I want to I want to thank Gina Putoff for her cat bookmarks, and she's got them all over here. These are so cool, aren't they? And John Clark, thank you for this. This is my name, and it says, what does it say? It says, book that you dream, hold in your, wait a minute. Book dream that you hold in your hand. That's it. That's what it is. Book dream that you hold in your hand. Okay, so we can have more virtue when we read through these books. And right now, we're reading the topic of negativity, chapter 109 by George J. Chanos in Millennial Samurai. The world is full of a lot of fear and negativity and a lot of judgment. Hold on one second while I go and get my glasses. I need my glasses because I just got contact lenses and somehow the glasses are not where I thought they were. So I'm way over here now. And I'm over here now. Sorry. Okay, so, and I was with A.C. Rusita when I got these glasses. These are my reading glasses, which I got. I picked up my contact lenses yesterday. So now I can see. Ooh, this is magnified. Ellen DeGeneres, American comedian, television host, actress, writer, and producer, says the world is full of a lot of fear and negativity and a lot of judgment. I think people need to start shifting into joy and happiness. That's what these are words by Ellen DeGeneres. Okay. Humans have a tendency, now this is George J. Chanos, humans have a tendency to be more negative than positive. It's evolutionary. It helps us to avoid danger and react more quickly to a crisis. Our brains also function in a way that can reinforce negative thoughts. Our brains recognize patterns. As neuroscientists say, neurons that fire together wire together. Having a negative thought makes it more likely that you will have another negative thought. Spending more time with negative people has the same effect as spending more time thinking negative thoughts. In some instances, to avoid this evolutionary instinct requires conscious effort. Consciously try to limit your negative thoughts, not by ignoring them, but by de emphasizing them and by trying to think more positive thoughts. Do your best to avoid negative people. I know that's easier said than done. You may have family members or coworkers that are generally negative. If so, either try to help them by being positive when you're around them or minimize your interactions with them. When we witness behavior, our brains mimic it. I think he didn't put in the sentence monkey see, monkey do, but I am going to say it. Okay. When our brains When we witness behavior, our brains mimic it, says the author. We share excitement at concerts and sadness at funerals. This process is called mirroring or empathy. Negative thoughts trigger the release of the stress hormone cortisol. Elevated levels of cortisol have been shown to weaken your immune system, raise your blood pressure, and increase your risk of heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. Studies have also shown that prolonged exposure to stress can actually impair brain development. Gratitude can work in the opposite way. Having a positive thought makes it easier for you to have more. Wait, what? Having a positive thought makes it easier for you to have more positive thoughts. Spending more time with positive people will make you more positive. Try to surround yourself with positive people. Find things that make you feel good: a warm bath, a child's smile, being outdoors, music, a massage, an embrace, the smell of lilacs, anything that makes you feel good. These things will help turn off the part of your brain that is wired for negativity and rewire your brain for positivity. Notice your thoughts. Separate yourself from negative thoughts. When faced with bad news, imagine that your friend is the one who received the bad news. How would you advise them? Imagine the news objectively rather than emotionally. Think of your negative thoughts as just that. Thoughts, nothing more. Don't try to avoid or suppress them. Acknowledge them and address them as you would any other transitory packet of sensory information. You might think, oh, there's that negative thought again. It's telling me to worry about being late for work. Instead of worrying, focus on getting to work, apologizing for being late, and getting up earlier next time. Take a deep breath. Controlled breathing can lower stress. Set reasonable goals. Turn problems into challenges or opportunities. Make positivity and gratitude a way of life. Wake up every morning thinking about who and what you are grateful for and how you can replace negativity with gratitude. Doing this as a ritual every morning will literally rewire your brain. It will make you more positive, happy, and productive. Great. All right. Next, what? Next, we have drama queens. Avoid drama queens, people who thrive on drama and chaos. They are emotional vampires, and their narcissism and or insecurity drives an insatiable need for attention. They don't advance others, they impede them. There is only one place for drama: the theater. In all other areas of your life, avoid it. Drama queens. What George J. Chanos says is drama is a distraction and a waste of time. Drama. So what we're trying to do here is today, morsels of a thought. Ooh, these glasses just made my on my side. Golly. Um, so, ugh, what was I saying? I don't remember. Okay, this is really neat. I get to see my name. I get to see my name. A book dream you hold in your hand. That is so cool. That is so cool. Thank you, John. And thank you, Gina. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is so cool. These are so neat. Oh my gosh. You gotta Google that and find one. Or Bing it. Or um what's the other word for it? There's a whole lot of words for that. Anyway, forgive. Nelson Mandela said, as I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew If I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. In other words, what he's saying is that if he had remembered all that, then his prison would have come with him in his heart. So, what we're doing is we are reading from George J. Chanos, Millennial Samurai, Book One, A Mindset for the 21st Century. And thank you to George J. Chanos for sending me his book, Believe. And that's his signature right there. Believe. All right. Nelson Mandela was a revolutionary and former president of South Africa. He has now since passed on. Holding a grudge, says George J. Chanos, and harboring grievances is detrimental to your physical and mental well-being. It does nothing to move your life forward. It limits you by shifting your focus from the present, where it should be, to the past. Maya Angelou, American poet, says, "It is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself to forgive. Forgive everybody." George J. Chanos says, "Learn how to forgive and move on with your life. Focus on what matters today, not yesterday." Now, I did an episode of Morsels of a Thought one time on forgiveness, and I have to agree that forgiveness is a real thing. You have to forgive. Forgiveness is a way to step forward out of the mire, out of the muck of your life. You set your foot onto a bank and you hoist yourself up onto the bank with to your hoist your other foot up onto the bank, your whole self, so you can get your other foot up as well. That is simply saying, I'm past this. Yes, it happened. Yes, it was heinous. Yes, it was horrible. Yes, I still think the act is horrible and unforgivable, but I forgive the person. So that's a separate issue. Forgiveness, that is where you say, well, what they did was unforgivable, but the person probably wouldn't have done it if. Or the person, even though they would do it, is not the person that I want to believe I got to know. I got to know a certain person based on who I thought they were. And maybe this person isn't who I thought they were, but the person in my mind that I became friends with or had association with was a certain kind of person. And I forgive that evil one and say to myself, I want that other one. And that other one is the one that you have forgiven. Mm, that's all I have to say about that. I've let other people have the floor on this particular episode of forgiveness. Don't worry, be happy. 112, chapter 112. Don't worry, says George J. Chanos. Ernest Hemingway, American writer, says, if something is wrong, fix it if you can, but train yourself not to worry. Worry never fixes anything. When worrying becomes excessive, it can lead to feelings of anxiety. It can adversely affect your health, your appetite, and your sleep. It can affect your job performance and your relationships. It can create changes in lifestyle habits such as overeating, smoking, or using alcohol and drugs. If something is fixable, fix it. If it is not fixable, adapt. In either case, worry not. Sometimes we become so preoccupied with negative thoughts that I'm going to yawn because I'm sleepy. I'm sorry. And by the way, no, this top is not a pajama. Sometimes we become so preoccupied with negative thoughts that we can suffer severe anxiety or even panic attacks. It can happen to anyone. Panic is most likely to occur when you feel that you have lost control. So stay in control. Think of negative thoughts as nothing more than transitory packets of sensory information. Treat them as passing clouds on an otherwise sunny day. Remain calm. Nothing is bad as it seems. Remember that all storms pass and worrying solves nothing. Relax, breathe deeply, and let the storm pass. Now, in morsels of a thought, I say to myself, I'm not very wise, so I'm going to read to people about other people who are wise, who give us a synopsis of their lives, of what the right things to do they have learned would be. So for them, those are right, and let's see if it could apply to me so that we can have more virtue in the world. Okay. So, your one and only life is the next section that we are going to talk about. And this is a Leonardo da Vinci type of diagram. Leonardo da Vinci. He had a house in Paris, and I've been in it. It was cold in there. The concrete floor. There was a little ramp up room, from one room to another room. There was a little ramp, and it was a very nice little quaint little house, and it was very neat actually. I wonder if he designed it himself. I can't remember the history, but anyway, Leonardo da Vinci had a house in Paris. 1207. Excuse me. 12 minutes and 7 seconds left. No. 7 minutes and 22 seconds left. Excuse me. J.R.R. Tolkien was an English writer and poet, and he said, "Not all those who wander are lost. Discover your purpose in life." Now, I must say, from my own experience, when my mother was passing that day, I decided to leave so that I could see her the next day or not. And I said, "Bye bye, Mama." And I left. And as I walked out, I remember wandering. And I said, "Is this the last time I'm going to see my mother?" And as it turned out, so it was. But in my mind, I said, I am going to wander to find the purpose of my life now that Mama's gone. Wow. And so I'm still looking. That's me. And in the meantime, I'm trying to bring more virtue into the world, and I'm bringing you morsels of a thought every day. And I thank you for coming because you are my little family. Discover Your Purpose in Life, Chapter 113 by George J. Chanos. Give yourself time to discover your purpose in life. Your choices are as varied as the human personality. Changes in access to capital, technology, media, manufacturing, publishing, and distribution have created unprecedented opportunities for creativity, independence, mobility, and prosperity. Focus on your strengths and your passions. Try to do something that inspires your dedication and commitment, something that maximizes your innate gifts and brings you happiness. Try to do something that is meaningful to you. Consider doing something extraordinary. Think about issues that concern you, issues you care about. Then think about how you can play a role in bringing about the change required to help resolve those issues. Be thoughtful while you discover your own essential nature. Design your life as you would design a temple, one carefully laid out and thoughtfully considered brick at a time. Now, I want to pause here to say that I had a friend whose father built temples in India, had built temples in India. And I thought to myself, wow, I wonder how that worked. And now I'm thinking here, this is what George J. Jano says: one carefully laid and thoughtfully considered brick at a time. Now, here in Japanese, ikigai is written by combining the symbol for life with the symbol for to be worthwhile. Ikigai. Ikigai. Dan Butner Buettner, author of Blue Zones Lessons on Living Longer from the People Who've Lived the Longest, suggests making three lists: your values, things you'd like to do, and things you are good at. The cross section of the three lists is your ikigai. Western writers sometimes add a fourth element, what you can get paid for doing. According to those born in Okinawa, the island with the most centenarians in the world, our ikigai is the reason we get up in the morning. Centenarian. Centenarian, not centurion. What's a centurion? They believe that once you discover your ikigai, pursuing it and nurturing it every day will bring meaning to your life. Oh, older people are celebrated in Japan. I know that in China, they do the same. Similar culture, same culture actually. They feel obligated to pass on their wisdom to younger generations. Butner says older people are celebrated in Japan. They feel obligated to pass on their wisdom to younger generations, Butner says. This gives them a purpose in life, in service to their communities. Japanese workers are driven by being useful to others, being thanked, and being esteemed by their colleagues, says Toshimitsu Sowa, CEO of HR consulting firm Jinzai Kenkyusho. 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 Okay. Research by Wharton management professor Adam Grant suggests that, quote, doing work that affects the well being of others, end quote, and to, quote, see or meet the people affected by their work, end quote, is what motivates many employees. I wonder that if that's why delivery people feel so satisfied in some ways, some people say. Anyway, in one experiment, cold callers at the University of Michigan who spent time with the recipient of the scholarship they were trying to raise money for brought in 171% more money when compared with those who were merely working on the phone. The simple act of meeting the student beneficiary provided meaning to the fundraisers, boosted their performance. Provided meaning to the fundraisers and boosted their performance. Ikigai is the feeling that your work makes a difference in people's lives. Wow. So I'm going to talk for the next 2 minutes or 1 minute, because the next one is called philotimo. The word philotimo comes from the Greek word philos, meaning friend, and timi, meaning honor. Honor your friend. I'll read the first paragraph. Vasilios P. Vertodakis, a lecturer in ancient Greek philology at the National and I won't read that part until next week. I'm going to read it next week. Kapodistrand University of Athens told the BBC, Philotimo describes virtues that include honor, dignity, pride, and the ideal actions and behaviors, hospitality, and warmth received by another. Interesting. Okay, so George J. Chanos, A Mindset for the 21st Century, Book 1, Millennial Samurai. We are reading. We read books in this program. We read books over and over and over again because that is how we can benefit from other people's life experiences. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I read from Ellen Fine and Sherry Schneider. And Fridays, I read from Brody Miller. In those cases, I am reading about dating and women treating men and other people equally, well, not equally, but the way they want to be treated. And in Brody Miller, we talk about people who have conked themselves on the head. Anyway, so here, Old Kinderhook. I think I have it right. Hold on. Here I am. Okay. Old Kinderhook. We've got to edit out that black part. I'm so sorry. Old Kinderhook. 1 extra minute.